Why do we instinctively yawn when we see someone else yawn? Welcome to Unlimited Quest. Today, we're exploring one of the most fascinating and mysterious aspects of human behavior, the contagious nature of yawning. Have you ever found yourself yawning after watching someone else yawn, even if you weren't tired? This phenomenon, known as contagious yawning, has intrigued scientists and curious minds alike for years. In this video, we'll investigate the science behind why we instinctively yawn when we see someone else yawn, looking at neurological, psychological, and evolutionary explanations. Let's embark on this journey to understand a behavior that is as common as it is puzzling. The curiosity of contagious yawning. Yawning is a universal behavior observed in humans and many other animals. While we often associate yawning with tiredness or boredom, the act of yawning is much more complex than a mere signal of sleepiness. One of the most intriguing aspects of yawning is its contagious nature. When you see someone yawn, it's almost inevitable that you'll feel the urge to yawn too. This phenomenon is not limited to visual cues. Even reading or thinking about yawning can trigger the response. But why does this happen? At first glance, the answer might seem trivial. Perhaps our brains are simply mimicking an observed behavior. However, the reality is far more intricate. Contagious yawning touches on deep aspects of human physiology and psychology, including brain connectivity, empathy, and even social bonding. Understanding this behavior requires us to delve into both our neurological wiring and our evolutionary history. The neurological basis, mirror neurons and beyond. One of the leading theories to explain contagious yawning involves mirror neurons. Mirror neurons are specialized brain cells that activate both when an individual performs an action and when they observe someone else performing the same action. Essentially, these neurons mirror the behavior of others, allowing us to understand and empathize with their actions. When you see someone yawn, mirror neurons in your brain may fire, triggering the urge to yawn as well. This automatic imitation can be seen as a fundamental aspect of how our brains are wired to process social information. Mirror neurons not only help us understand others' actions, but also play a role in learning, imitation, and the development of empathy. This neural mechanism suggests that contagious yawning might be linked to our capacity for empathy and social connection. However, while mirror neurons offer a compelling explanation, they are only part of the story. Research has shown that the contagious nature of yawning is influenced by a variety of factors, including attention, social context, and even individual differences in empathy. Some people are more susceptible to contagious yawning than others, and this variability may be related to differences in the functioning of mirror neuron systems or other neural circuits involved in social cognition. The role of empathy and social bonding. Empathy, the ability to understand and share the feelings of another, is another key component in the puzzle of contagious yawning. Studies have indicated that individuals who score higher on measures of empathy are more likely to experience contagious yawning. This relationship suggests that yawning may serve as a nonverbal form of communication, reinforcing social bonds and facilitating group cohesion. In social animals, synchronized behaviors can have significant survival advantages. Contagious yawning may have evolved as a mechanism to promote alertness and social bonding within a group. When one member of a group yawns, triggering similar behavior in others could help synchronize the group's states of wakefulness or relaxation, fostering a sense of unity and shared experience. This synchrony might have been crucial for early human communities, where cooperative behavior and mutual understanding were essential for survival. The social aspect of contagious yawning is further supported by research, showing that people are more likely to yawn in response to the yawns of friends and family compared to strangers. This observation implies that the contagious effect is modulated by social closeness, reinforcing the idea that yawning is linked to empathy and interpersonal connection. Evolutionary perspectives, a survival mechanism. From an evolutionary standpoint, many behaviors that may appear trivial on the surface often serve deeper adaptive purposes. Contagious yawning might have originally evolved as a way to regulate group dynamics and enhance communication within social groups. In early human societies, being in sync with others could have been vital for coordinating group activities, such as hunting or gathering. and for maintaining a shared state of vigilance or relaxation. Yawning could also serve as a signal of transitions in the group's behavior. For instance, when one individual begins to yawn, it might indicate that it's time for the group to shift from a state of rest to one of alertness. This collective signal could help ensure that all group members are ready to respond to environmental challenges, thereby enhancing the group's overall survival. Moreover, the contagious nature of yawning might have played a role in the development of early communication systems. By automatically mimicking the actions of others, early humans could have strengthened the neural pathways necessary for learning and social interaction. Over time, these pathways would contribute not only to the phenomenon of contagious yawning, but also to broader aspects of social behavior and cultural transmission. The psychological dimensions of yawning. While the neurological and evolutionary explanations provide important insights, it's also essential to consider the psychological dimensions of contagious yawning. Yawning is a behavior that we often perform without conscious thought, yet its social implications are profound. Research has demonstrated that simply thinking about yawning, reading about it, or even watching videos of people yawning can trigger the behavior in susceptible individuals. This suggests that the cognitive processes underlying yawning are deeply intertwined with our perception of social cues and our internal states of arousal. When we observe another person yawning, our brains may automatically simulate the experience, leading to a contagious response. Additionally, psychological factors such as stress, fatigue, and boredom can modulate our propensity to yawn. In situations where we are particularly tired or stressed, the contagious effect may be amplified, resulting in a cascade of yawns among individuals in a group. Conversely, in highly stimulating or emotionally charged environments, the effect may be dampened, as our focus shifts away from the automatic mimicry of yawns. Understanding these psychological nuances helps us appreciate that contagious yawning is not merely a reflexive action. It is a multifaceted behavior influenced by both internal states and external social dynamics. It is a behavior that reveals much about how we process and respond to the actions of others, highlighting the intricate interplay between our minds and our social environments. Comparative insights. Yawning in other species. Contagious yawning is not exclusive to humans. Observations in other social animals, such as chimpanzees, bonobos, and even dogs, indicate that this behavior is widespread among species that rely on social bonds for survival. In these species, yawning often appears to be a means of communication and social synchronization. For example, studies on chimpanzees have shown that these primates are more likely to yawn contagiously when they observe yawning among closely bonded individuals. This parallel with human behavior supports the idea that contagious yawning is deeply rooted in the social and evolutionary contexts of group living. It suggests that the behavior may serve a universal function in promoting social cohesion and empathy across different species. The comparative study of yawning across species allows researchers to draw broader conclusions about the role of mimicry and social synchronization in animal behavior. It reinforces the notion that contagious yawning is more than a mere oddity. It is a behavior that has significant implications for understanding the evolution of social communication and group dynamics. Neuroimaging and experimental studies. Recent advances in neuroimaging have provided valuable insights into the brain regions involved in contagious yawning. Functional MRI, fMRI. Studies have identified areas such as the anterior cingulate cortex and the inferior frontal gyrus as being active during yawning episodes. These regions are known to be involved in empathy, emotional processing, and motor control, lending further support to the theory that contagious yawning is linked to social cognition. Experimental studies have also shed light on individual differences in yawning susceptibility. For instance, research indicates that people with higher levels of empathy tend to experience more contagious yawning. In contrast, individuals with certain neurological or developmental conditions, such as autism spectrum disorder, may be less prone to contagious yawning. These findings suggest that the propensity for yawning in response to others is closely tied to the neural mechanisms that underpin our ability to understand and connect with others. Moreover, studies employing controlled experiments have demonstrated that even subtle cues, such as a faint yawn or a yawning sound, can trigger the response in observers. This sensitivity highlights the robustness of the underlying neural circuits and underscores the powerful role of subconscious processing in human behavior. The social and cultural dimensions. Beyond the biological and psychological explanations, contagious yawning also has a social and cultural dimension. In many cultures, yawning is considered a sign of tiredness or boredom, and in some social settings, it may even be viewed as impolite. Despite these cultural interpretations, the fact remains that yawning is a natural, involuntary behavior that transcends cultural boundaries. In social groups, the act of yawning can serve as a subtle signal of group dynamics. It might indicate a shared state of fatigue or a collective transition from one phase of activity to another. Some researchers have even proposed that contagious yawning may play a role in synchronizing group behavior, contributing to a sense of unity and shared experience among individuals. The cultural significance of yawning is also evident in language and folklore. Many languages have idioms and expressions related to yawning, reflecting the universal nature of the behavior. Whether it's seen as a symbol of boredom, a marker of tiredness, or a humorous quirk, yawning occupies a unique place in our social consciousness. Practical implications and everyday observations. So, what does all this mean for us in our daily lives? Understanding why we yawn contagiously can have practical implications, especially in social or professional settings. For instance, being aware of the contagious nature of yawning might help us manage group dynamics during meetings or lectures. Recognizing that a yawn is not necessarily a sign of disinterest, but rather a natural response can foster greater empathy and patience in social interactions. In our personal lives, understanding the triggers and mechanisms behind yawning can also provide insights into our own states of fatigue or stress. If you notice that you tend to yawn more in the presence of certain individuals or in particular environments, it might be a signal from your body that it's time to rest or that you're picking up on the emotional cues around you. Moreover, this knowledge can enhance our appreciation for the subtle ways in which our bodies communicate and connect. Contagious yawning is a reminder that even our most automatic behaviors are intertwined with our social nature, reflecting the deep connections we share with those around us. Future research directions. Despite significant progress in understanding contagious yawning, many questions remain unanswered. Future research may explore the genetic basis of this behavior, investigating whether certain genes or neural markers predispose individuals to be more susceptible to contagious yawning. Longitudinal studies could also examine how susceptibility to contagious yawning develops over the lifespan, and whether it correlates with changes in empathy and social cognition. Additionally, cross-cultural studies could provide deeper insights into how different social environments and cultural norms influence the expression of contagious yawning. By comparing groups with varying levels of social interaction and differing cultural attitudes toward yawning, researchers may uncover new dimensions of this intriguing behavior. Advancements in neuroimaging and computational modeling will likely continue to refine our understanding of the neural circuits involved in contagious yawning. As these technologies evolve, we can expect more detailed maps of the brain regions and connections that underlie this phenomenon, further bridging the gap between observed behavior and its underlying biological mechanisms. In conclusion, contagious yawning is a fascinating example of how our brains and bodies are intertwined with our social lives. It is a behavior that, on the surface, might seem trivial, yet it holds deep insights into our neural wiring, our capacity for empathy, and the evolutionary forces that have shaped our social interactions. Through a combination of mirror neurons, hormonal changes, and cognitive anticipation, our brains are wired to respond to the actions of others, even something as simple as a yawn. As we've explored today, the act of yawning contagiously is not just a reflex. It is a window into the complex interplay of biology, psychology, and social connection. It illustrates how even our most mundane behaviors are imbued with meaning and purpose, reflecting our deep-seated need to bond and communicate with one another. Thank you for joining me on this deep dive into why we instinctively yawn when we see someone else yawn. If you enjoyed this exploration into the science of contagious yawning, please take a moment to like this video. Share your thoughts and experiences in the comments below. Subscribe to Unlimited Quest for more fascinating discussions on human behavior and biology. and share this video with anyone curious about the mysteries of our everyday lives. Until next time, keep questioning, keep exploring, and never stop your quest for knowledge.